All right, welcome back to another Wright podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I'm Brian Wright, and we are Monday morning, made it to the weekend. And not
Made
that that's,
it through the weekend.
I don't know. I've never said that before in my life. I've never had, I can honestly say, I've never, really, the weekend, you never want to be a guy that lives for the weekend. But the older I get, it's like, dude, it's fun, dude. There's just no worries. You go watch your kids play sports, or you watch sports on TV. You know, I wonder what my life would be without sports. It wouldn't be very good. It wouldn't be very fulfilling, unfortunately. And that's probably saying more about me than anything else.
I mean, you remember the Brown Derbies, right? Everybody's working for the weekend.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I never wanted to be that guy, Paulie. But I feel like I've come that way.
I'm getting more and more that way as I get a little older as well. I used to be just kind of a, hey, it's whatever now. But I do enjoy the weekends because I get to hang out with you a little more. I get to hang out with the family a little more, right? And watch ball games. And maybe it's just age you appreciate it a little more. So,
yeah.
And I'm through the birthday phase with all the birthday parties and things of that nature. With my kids are 20, 18, 13, and 7. With the older two, it felt like every weekend was a birthday party. Just one of those kids like at a bounce house or something like that. And just being a young parent felt like I was obligated to do it.
Sure.
And kind of first time through. And now with the 7-year-old, honestly, I don't we may be getting invited to them. I don't even know if we are or not.
Yeah. Y'all
Probably
fell
not
off
going.
the list.
Yeah. We're blacklisted from all parties. Like they don't even bring gifts. They just show up and eat cake and leave. That's how we do it these days. But so speaking of, was able to see a couple of softball games for my oldest. So she kicked off her junior year this year or this weekend. And play a little ball. She got to pitch a little bit, got to hit a little bit. First at bat of the season, hit a double off the wall. Next at bat, hit a home run. Then hit a single off the wall. Hit a single off the wall, just smoked it, and was a triple away from the cycle. Her first at bat, pitched pretty good. So excited to see that.
Hey, how many triples do you see with that small a field?
In softball, it's usually a slapper that gets one past the outfield, or one of those balls. It's typically to right field, that
like a dive,
where the girl dives and it kicks away. Rarely is it like a traditional like baseball gapper. And in baseball, you have some of those quirky fields with different angles on the fences, and the ball can kick a little bit. In softball, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a field that wasn't just your standard rounded, either 200 or 220 to center and all the way around sort of thing. So triples are, you've got to be a real burner, and you've got to have something in the outfield that happened that's maybe two girls dive at it and it gets through both of them sort of thing. It's got to be a situation like that, but it's kind of rare. It doesn't really happen a ton.
Paulie, I saw something I've never seen before at any level. I was watching Georgia. They're playing UIC. I'm not even sure who that is. But the leadoff guy hit a single. 2-hole guy hit a double. 3-hole guy hit a triple. And then the 4-hole guy hit a home run.
The natural cycle.
The natural cycle in one inning, back to back consecutively. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Not great for the pitcher, but
not great for the pitcher. It sounded like your girl had a good weekend. I would imagine getting some W's out of some of those.
Yeah, okay, they got one out of 4, so one and 3 on the weekend. Not ideal, but play close, play tough. Some things to clean up, but they'll be all right. But bigger news. So they were in Lynchburg, Virginia, today, coming from Raleigh, North Carolina, and bus breaks down on the way to the game. And so she texts and goes, "Hey, buses were on the side of the road," and we were driving, so we were about an hour or so behind them, a couple hours behind them. They left early, and got me thinking about all of our bus trips. And I was really, really fortunate. I never had a bus break down while I was on any sort of road trip. We had some buses where like the air conditioning didn't work very well.
Yeah, or the bathroom is acting weird and it smells that funky thing.
Yeah,
yes.
In in the southern half of the California League, we did a lot of commuter trips. And I just remember being on those buses and it was so hot. Like guys were just, and you would be angry. Like
Oh yeah,
everyone's
you can't
angry.
help it.
And you're like, as soon as you go on the bus, everybody takes their shirts off. You're just sitting there in shorts. You would pop that exit thing. Remember the roof exit thing on the bus? Pop that
Oh yeah.
to try to get some airflow. I don't know why, but we would just everybody just complain the whole time. And
Hey, so what happened with your girl? How'd
so
they
I don't
get
know.
through the
Yes,
game?
so the bus broke down. I don't know what the actual reasoning for. She said there was smoke in the front,
That's
and
not
then
good.
I was like, hey, the engine's in the back. Like there shouldn't be smoke in the. There's nothing in the front.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I don't know. And then as we drive by, the back of the bus is like I guess what would be the hood or the cover is.
Yeah, almost like a Volkswagen Beetle type car.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
engine's in
So
the
they
back.
just pull
Yeah.
up and they were just sitting on the bus and not a whole lot we can do. So they ended up calling another bus. That bus had to come from Durham to pick them up and then take them to the game. So they got there.
Were they late?
They pushed the start back by about like 30, 45 minutes and did everything. But I do remember a guy I played with, Alan Leverall. So Alan actually pitched in the big leagues for a couple of years. Was drafted by the Brewers. I think made it up with the Marlins and Indians, but grew up working on cars with his dad, his family, and so this is the story I heard. So I messaged with him a little bit this morning. I was trying to get an audio recording from him. If we get something from him, we'll throw it on the pod. But so everybody called him Meat.
Yeah.
So Meat. So they get stranded on the side of the road. They're somewhere in the middle of Montana. So he was on the Helena Brewers, so rookie ball, short season 18. And again, this is the story as I remember it and as I was told it. So I was trying to get the validation from Leverall. So bus breaks down. They're on the side of the road, and he was a Boston guy, like a Massachusetts, just big bravado, big guy, the voice, the whole thing.
But
The
you're on
accent.
this bus, right? You're on
No,
this
I
bus
was
with
not
him?
on this bus. I was in,
Oh,
he was
okay.
in one of our other teams. And so bus breaks down. He gets us like, hey guy, I can fix this. And like, all right, what? The story I heard was he fixed it with bubble gum and a coat hanger. That's what I heard. Whatever was wrong with the bus, they fixed it, got to their next spot, and then like really,
Did a real fix. Yeah.
but they got the bus going, and he was in there, and he was the hero for the night. Again, I don't know if he like legitimately MacGyvered the whole thing and used bubble gum and a coat hanger, but that was the story I was told.
Oh, dude, that's freaking awesome.
And I messaged him that this morning. He didn't say anything otherwise to like counter that story. But again, if we get the story, but there's a lot of guys on teams who have some really interesting talents. And as you like get to know teammates and kind of you're with them all the time, so you talk just about what's going on in their life, where they came from, their upbringing, and just a lot of really interesting guys with like really varied backgrounds in the minor leagues and in professional sports.
Yeah, you don't think about a guy from Boston being like a car mechanic. There's some guys that I follow, and they're usually the South that do some pretty cool things with cars and doing different things. And so, yeah, dude, that's pretty awesome, though. That's a
Hey,
great story. I mean, obviously, you're still telling it.
Cars got to get fixed everywhere, man. Somebody's got to
That's
fix
right.
it. Whether you're in Boston or in Raleigh or in Miami, right? Wherever you are, you got to have car repair guys, and he was the guy, and he saved the day. So that was pretty cool. And clearly, nobody from William Peace University softball team had taken any sort of auto shop or anything in high school. So I'm in the firm belief that should be a mandatory class.
Mm.
I mean,
So maybe some
high school?
personal finance and basic auto care.
Yeah, man. I told my tire changing story the other day. Like I had to figure that out. Like my dad I don't think he ever showed me, but yeah, I mean, I was stranded on the side of the road one time. I had to call AAA to change a tire. That's kind of embarrassing, right? That's why I don't.
Yeah, they start
anymore.
taking your man card at that point.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, here it is. You can have it. And NC State shouldn't even have went down to Florida and played in theirs. They got swept this weekend, 3-4 on the weekend.
They're
Local
0-3 on the weekend, right?
0-3 on the weekend, 3-4 overall. You got North Carolina. Every one of their players. North Carolina was playing ECU in a pretty good college baseball series this weekend. And UNC is 2-0 on the weekend. They had one that's moved back for whatever reason, so they play again Monday. But dude, every player from North Carolina came from another school. It feels like
Yeah.
were somewhere else the previous year. Just from D3. I mean, a lot of mature looking guys.
Well, I saw an early like baseball 2025 draft preview list, and I think there was like 3 or 4 dudes from UNC, from Chapel Hill.
Well, I don't doubt it. The one thing I wanted to ask you about though, ECU had their starter. I was wondering if you ever heard about this happening before. They had their starter, literally, obviously a baseball guy who graduated high school early to enter college early to be able to start his freshman year early. Famously, you see it with who's their Philadelphia boy?
Oh, Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper did it, went to JUCO, went that route. But you usually don't. I can understand it if you're getting into a way where you can get drafted quicker, get paid quicker. I don't know. He got hit around a little bit in the first inning, then settled down.
That's interesting. So you essentially you skip your senior season of baseball.
Dude, what a great memories I had.
Should be the best one, yeah. You see that a lot in football.
Yeah, but normally after they already played their season.
And then they go play, and they're getting
spring
into
ball
playbook earlier, getting to spring games a little bit, spring practice, getting in the weight room. So you see that. I mean, I think I would say frequently, but with some guys in football, I've heard of it a couple times in baseball happening, and it's, I don't know, man. First of all, you've got to be really, really good for a coach to
ask you to do that.
Consider doing that.
Yep.
2, I don't know why you would want to miss out on your senior year of high school baseball, and then everything that goes along with that, like your prom and maybe he was homeschooled. I don't know. Maybe he went to a school where he didn't have any friends. I don't know. Like, I'm pure speculation, but seems like something you would not want to miss out on. Then you're out there getting knocked around a little bit. Then you're like, maybe I'm.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I mean, he was good, and the announcers sounded like they'd done their homework on him. Said, hey, he's supposed to be 94, 95. He was 91, 92, maybe touched 93. I mean, he was okay, and we already know what the guns really are now compared to when we came through. And so it wasn't really that dynamic. A good hard, supposedly through a split, and so his splitter was decent, but it wasn't hitting on much today. And then his breaking ball was just okay. But I just thought, man, it's one thing if you have a chance to go JUCO and you're trying to get to the league earlier. It's another. I don't know. There's just so many memories to be made. At least it was for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So Brian, it's Monday, and you know what that means.
Well, guy, we should know.
Oh, athlete, you should know. So our weekly segment, athlete, you should know. So we've done a couple good ones, and I think we've got a lot of fun, another base one, another fun one for you. So Brian, the athlete you should know today is called Rube Waddell.
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
Okay,
yeah.
So Rube is a Hall of Fame pitcher. He played from 1897 to 1910. So in his 13-year big league career, he put up some pretty impressive numbers. His career ERA was 2.16.
Seems good.
And during one stretch of 6 seasons, led the big leagues in strikeouts. In 1905, he won the Triple Crown of pitching with 27 wins, a 1.48 ERA, pitched in 46 games, started 34 of those, and completed 27 of them. He threw 328 and 2/3 innings and struck out 287 hitters that year. All right, so he had another year.
He about had a Hall of Fame year in 1 year.
Yeah. He had another year when he struck out 349 batters. And like most pitchers of that era had, threw a ton of innings. He also played, what's considered the dead ball era, which helped with some of his numbers clearly. So the dead ball era was like early 1900s to the 1920s, where balls were less lively. They were kind of constructed differently. Brian, how many baseballs on average do you think are used in a Major League Baseball game today?
I'd say, dude, every time it touches the dirt, so on both sides, so that's 54. I bet there's 130, 40 balls used a game.
So the numbers I was able to pull up on just Googling and internet searching, 70 to 120 is what they said, which I thought was kind of how many balls do you think were used in the dead ball era per game?
I bet it was 1 or 2. I bet it was like they try to do with cricket. You remember we've studied that a little bit. They try to use 1, maybe 1 or 2 balls.
So the number I found was 6 to 10.
Okay. I guess foul balls, you still can't go retrieve them. Yeah.
Yeah. So and there was also less restrictions around spitballs and other pitches that were kind of, would be deemed illegal now. And then you can imagine what some of those baseballs look like after
Oh, dude, they're trashed.
this.
Yeah.
And like we see some of that because in our travel games, we're using like 4, maybe 5 balls a
Yeah,
game.
sometimes we're taking them out ourselves. Like, dude, come on. We
Yeah,
paid
and
for
the
the
balls
tournament. Yeah.
they get lumpy and lopsided, and the seams are scuffed, and they're hitting cement, and then you can imagine they get dirty. It's tough to see. So a lot of small ball being played, right? So, and then I imagine with some of that other stuff, with the balls being, potentially a lot, like guys are probably throwing like wiffle ball type pitches out there with tons of movement. So,
Yeah, I mean, which was so bizarre. Like originally, as a pitcher, your goal was kind of to get them to hit the ball. Obviously, it was pre 1897, but it's just
yeah,
how far the game has transitioned and
yeah.
changed. Still no golden batter rule, but
No,
we're
no.
still
So,
hoping.
so you're probably asking. All right, this is clearly a good pitcher from the dead ball era, but there was a lot of them, right? All right. So first of all, let's talk about his name, Rube Waddell. So Rube, it's not a term that's used a whole lot today, but Rube was a slang term that essentially meant somebody who was unsophisticated, someone who lacked refinement, or maybe even like a country bumpkin. And while Rube Waddell wasn't the reason the term was created, he became very closely associated with that name. And so in baseball terms, it's often used to describe like a rookie or someone who has less experience. And then famously, who was Jake Taylor's replacement in Major League Two? Brian, do you remember this?
No, I
Rube,
should though.
remember Rube Baker was his name. Remember the Victoria
I
Secret
remember.
Skyline?
Yeah. I thought it was Rube, but yeah. So Rube, yeah, which
Yeah, Rube Baker.
makes great sense.
So again, if you're kind of picking up what I'm putting down, so Rube was a kind of character. He was all over the place, and so there's some wild stories about him. And so I'm gonna read through some of these here that I found and did some research on. So one of Rube's most famous antics was he would run off the field to chase fire trucks during the middle of an inning, middle of a game. He would just run. He was easily distracted and would just go chase fire trucks.
Maybe ADHD before ADHD.
So we'll get to that. Rube was also known to love animals. He would bring dogs, cats. Apparently, a fan gave him an alligator, and he would leave the alligator in the dugout, and like his teammates hated that. Let him just run.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you ruined your life.
Yeah. Waddell had the habit of leaving the field unexpectedly. He would wander off, go fishing, go to a bar, take a nap.
That would be frowned upon now. He wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, managers and teammates did not like it, wondered where he went. Connie Mack was one of his managers for a long time. Connie Mack kind of fought for him several times because he was that good. Like, he's kind of the Manny Ramirez.
But he wasn't running off and fishing during like pitching outings. Obviously, if he's throwing as many games as he did, I can't imagine him. Maybe his arm just hurt at some point. And he's like, dude, I need a break.
I gotta get out of here. So we'll get into that episode. He was easily distracted by crowds. And the research said, especially women and children, said he would sometimes stop pitching to flirt with women in the stands or toss balls to a child.
I like all those things.
That's that's kind of
a showman. A little bit banana ball right now.
Yeah. It said Rube had a fiery side as well, would often get into arguments with or fights with umpires or managers.
If it wasn't frowned upon, I think you would get in some.
Yeah, had a short.
If it was socially more acceptable, Paul would have more fights with umpires.
Just punch him in the.
Yeah, you wouldn't just let it go. I don't think.
No, I mean, I don't know. And then, like I said, believe it or not, often had clashes with managers. His unpredictable behavior, lack of discipline, sometimes led to tension in the clubhouse.
Sure.
Had incidents with Connie Mack, who often would back him, but eventually ended up getting rid of him from his teams because he couldn't handle the behavior. So here's where we get to a little bit of the darker side, Brian. Waddell was also known for drinking, which clearly affected his behavior on and off the field.
It's like he was drunk during the game sometimes.
Had a reputation for being a bit of a party animal. Managers had trouble keeping him sober. And then I'm just going to read you. This is from Wikipedia. I'm just going to just read you this paragraph straight because it was like so wild. So, according to baseball historian Lee Allen, in the American League story, Waddell began the 1903 season sleeping in a firehouse in Camden, New Jersey, and ended it tending a bar in a saloon in Wheeling, West Virginia. In between those events, he won 22 games for the Philadelphia Athletics, toured the nation in a melodrama called The Stain of Guilt, courted, married, and became separated from May Wynn Skinner of Lynn, Massachusetts, saved a woman from drowning, accidentally shot a friend through the hand, and was bitten by a lion. His performance in The Stain of Guilt was notable in that his co-stars, who had realized that he was incapable of memorizing his lines, allowed him to improvise his lines in every show. The play was critically acclaimed and was much discussed for a scene in which Waddell lifted the actor playing the villain and threw him across the stage with ease. I mean, and then recent commentators such as Bill James have suggested that Waddell suffered from developmental disability.
It sounds like it.
Mental retardation, autism, or ADD. Not much was known about those conditions, at the time. And so, man, that was.
Well, you could argue that he lived a full life. He lived
He's
more
like
life in a
like
year.
kind of like Forrest Gump and Dennis Rodman and like all these guys like combined into one.
Yes.
Just wild. Dude. Then, so in 1912 and 1913, he helped save a bunch of people from floods in Kentucky, but ended up getting pneumonia from it. He was diagnosed with tuberculosis, moved to live with his sister in San Antonio. His health never recovered. He was placed in a sanitarium and died at the age of 37.
Well, it sounded like he lived a full life in those 37 years.
I
But
mean,
Rube, yeah, I mean that's a guy we should know.
I mean, that's unbelievable, man. Like, maybe we should just start doing more research and write a movie about this guy because it sounds.
Oh, it seems like there could be.
I don't know how is there not. It sounds like so far fetched you couldn't even believe it. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think there seems to be, there for a while there's some pretty good baseball movies, at least kind of around baseball. Or I feel like that could be one. That's a good starting point for sure.
Man, yeah, that's the. I mean, maybe he was like Winston Groom's.
But like you already said, he's
Forrest.
basically Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Of baseball.
Yeah. I mean, this guy was all over. So maybe we'll work on that. We'll get the rights and we'll write ourselves a screenplay.
Screenplay, I love it, dude. I love it.
So thanks for listening today. Make sure you tell people about Rube Waddell. Bring that conversation up, and maybe you've got some people in the workplace who share similar antics, and you can talk about them. But hey, we appreciate you listening today. Have a great week.
Out, go Pack 3 and 4.